Stand by to fall in, Polk County. This is today's veteran. Hello and welcome, and on behalf of everyone at the Polk County Office of Veteran Services, thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Tim Kirkhart, and on this installment of today's Veteran, we chat with Rebecca Williamson, Mark Stefan, and Charles Swanepoel about the Veterans Resource Services. But we start off today's show with a look at hyperbaric oxygen therapy, HBOT. That involves breathing pure oxygen in a pressurized room or tube. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy is a well-established treatment for decompression sickness, a hazard of scuba diving. In a hyperbaric oxygen therapy chamber, the air pressure is increased to 3 times higher than normal air pressure. Under these conditions, your lungs can gather more oxygen than would be possible breathing pure oxygen at normal air pressure. Your blood carries this oxygen throughout your body. This helps fight bacteria and stimulate the release of substances called growth factors and stem cells, which promote healing. Joining us in studio is Colonel Washington Sanchez Jr. of the Florida Veterans Association and Veteran Steve Ratliff, currently undergoing HBOT. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Steve's military service was spent in the Army on the crew of a self-propelled howitzer. The 8-inch howitzer was the largest self-propelled howitzer in the U.S. Army's inventory, and we see pictures of that right now. It was deployed in the division artillery in general support battalions and in separate corps and Army-level battalions. The M110 featured a hydraulically operated rammer to automatically chamber the 200-plus pound projectile, protected by the armor so it superficially resembles a tank. Steve, we just saw the picture.
Yes, sir.
Tell us what it was like being there.
Being there, on the M110, it is an extremely loud explosion once you do pull the lanyard and fire, and it does shake the ground around you. You don't necessarily have to be on the equipment for you to feel the vibration. I've been away from the gun as far as 15 to 20 feet away from it, and you still feel the vibration of the firing of the howitzer.
And so you do believe that you sustained head injuries from the concussion, the
percussion, yes, sir.
Yeah, the percussion.
Yes, sir. I didn't realize until here recently, my body was going through a lot of changes. I was more aggressive in things and didn't know about the percussion damage. But after doing a little bit more research and stuff, yes, I'm a firm believer that the percussion from firing the M110 howitzer multiple times where the tube has come down past my head, and all the damage has been on the right side, so that would be the side that was facing when I would fire the gun, sir.
What are some of the health problems that you were experiencing before you started the HBOT?
Massive amounts of migraine headaches. I was having easily 28 headaches a month that would almost just keep me off my feet. Very, very intense headaches. Of course, I've had a heart attack, open heart surgery, diabetes, neuropathy, pain in the legs, some damage to my neck, arms, shoulder.
Tell us some of the ways that maybe your body has begun to heal since going through the HBOT.
Well, after the about the 4th treatment, I didn't have a headache any longer, and now it's been almost 40 days now, 45 days. Not even a headache, not even a mild headache, 0. So that is a major plus. Some of the other benefits that has happened, my toes, I wasn't able to bend them on my own. I had to physically move them. I started, about the fourth treatment, I started receiving a lot of amount of pain in the toes of the extremity, which I haven't felt in almost 5 years. And I've been able to move them by myself. I have feeling now to the touch in my legs to where before I had no feeling. You take needles and stuff and stick, I wouldn't feel it, but I can feel that at this point in time. With my neck and stuff, with some of the treatment that Ray had helped me with, I wasn't able to look up at the ceiling, turn my head left or right. So there's a lot of benefits that it has helped me.
Do you think you were having suicidal thoughts before you started the treatment?
Oh, it's not a think. I know I did. I attempted it a couple of different times. I was very depressed. I just didn't think life wanted me around. And I did things and tried to end it. But, you know, by the grace of God, I'm still here and hopefully help other people that feel the same way that I felt.
Just adding to that, if we were talking about the number of veterans that have committed suicide over the last few years, the 23 or so, if hyperbaric oxygen treatment could help save just 5 lives of those numbers, it would be tremendous. And this is what we're talking about. Give our veterans an opportunity to take a treatment that might help them with their traumatic brain injury as well as a PTSD condition.
The Florida Veterans Foundation, Colonel Sanchez, Major Haynes, and Colonel Shipley approached me about a program of the HBOT treatment and see if I wanted to take part. And at this point in time, I was pretty much on my last leg. I really didn't have any alternative. I've been on all types of different medication that just wasn't helping, so they're the ones that guided me towards the treatment.
How did your organization get involved with promoting the HBOT?
Well, it started back approximately a year ago at the South Florida Homeless Veteran Stand Down. One of our directors, Tony Carbonaris, was actually working with an organization that actually treated Steve here. It's Ray Crowley, and his organization was doing pro bono treatments. And so our organization was involved with maybe about 40 people before I got involved up in Tallahassee, and Steve abruptly resigned from the North Florida Homeless Veteran Stand Down, and I was very much concerned about that because I had worked with him for the last 3 years, you know, with the Homeless Veteran Stand Down. That Stand Down, as probably some people may not know, is an event, normally 1 to 3 days, in which you try to bring in homeless veterans off the street, out of the woods, or wherever, and try to provide all kind of services for them, and they can be health, administrative, or, you know, fun types of, we feed them, we house them, what have you. And so Steve had been working for us since 2013 when he was homeless himself and his family. And so I had seen a person who would do outreach that no one else was doing out in the woods and what have you. And so by him leaving us, abruptly quitting, I say, what's going on? And so when I called him in the same day and asked him, I say, what is your problem? And he began to explain to me, not to include the suicide portion, but the portion that he was really had anger management problems, was suffering from depression and what have you. And then I thought about what Tony was doing out in South Florida. I said, let me see, can I get him involved in this particular program? And so we agreed to send him down and to house him in the area such that he could get the treatments. And that's the start of it. And I tell you, I'm so proud of him now. I just feel that he's our poster veteran for the foundation in the future, really.
Okay. Tell me some of the plans for the future or widening efforts that are going to be made to promote this treatment.
Well, the foundation has discovered something here, I think, which is a part of our charter. we were chartered by the Florida legislature in 2008 to provide emergency support for the Florida Department of Veteran Affairs. And so in that responsibility, we felt that we needed to get involved in more than just, providing funding to veterans for whatever purpose, but to look deep into their systemic problems, which is a part of our charter here with the foundation. So in looking at that, we are saying that we need to look at the health aspects of our veterans, as well as the homelessness, as well as the emergency fund they need, and we need to look at the person as a holistic individual and try to help him however, and that's what we're beginning to do. And so promoting this hyperbaric oxygen treatment is just a natural, really, because we're finding out that is possibly the cause of a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder, a lot of depression, and what have you. Medication, I mean, we've seen most recently an article that said that our veterans are possibly over-medicated. And so here's an opportunity to give them a treatment that not only will help with their illness, but will keep them from being medicated to the point where really, truly, it's not needed.
And we hear that statement all the time about the VA healthcare system, that they do tend to over-medicate the veterans, which causes other problems. So we're running out of time, but Steve, can you give us a summary on what it was like to actually go through the treatments and what might the future hold?
Well, the treatment was really interesting. I mean, you go into the chamber, 90 minutes of dive time and come out. But since after the treatment, I feel wonderful. I get a full night's sleep without waking up at any point in time. I'm not as aggressive towards other people any longer. The migraines are gone, and the future is for me is to help other veterans, that are suffering, and to bring them in to get the same type of treatment. And it's like Colonel said, that an overdose of medication. I was on 6 different medications that didn't help.
We're about out of time. Any parting comments, Colonel Sanchez or Steve?
No.
Well, I would say I would hope that the Veteran Affairs would look at hyperbaric oxygen treatment as a preferred treatment for some of the illness that our veterans are going through, especially the post-traumatic stress disorder, which migraine headaches are part of this, diabetes, and some of the other things can be treated with these. And I really truly believe I want the treatment, and just about everybody I've talked to would like to have the treatment as well. So we're looking forward to one day where that would be a preferred treatment for our veterans.
Okay, we hope so too. Steve and Colonel Sanchez, I want to thank you for being on today's Veteran with us today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The Florida Veterans Foundation was established to serve, support, and advocate for Florida veterans. One of the foundation's main missions is to provide emergency assistance to Florida veterans and their families who, through no fault of their own, are experiencing financial difficulties that cannot be resolved by the veteran or other veteran service organizations. For more information on the Florida Veterans Foundation, look them up on the web at floridaveteransfoundation.org. We'll be back with more of today's Veteran after this.
History tells us that a lack of hurricane awareness and preparation are common threads among all major disasters.
By knowing your vulnerability and what actions you should take, you can reduce the effects of a hurricane disaster.
Hurricane hazards come in many forms, and preparation is the best protection against the dangers of a hurricane.
Knowing the difference between threat levels and then planning accordingly can help you in recovery.
This hurricane season, have a plan and get your supplies together, or you can do nothing.
Welcome back to today's Veteran. I'm your host, Tim Kirkhart. Veteran Resource Services Incorporated is a not-for-profit agency whose main goal is to assist our veterans in their journey to create an exciting and profitable career. Through the efforts of VRS, combined with volunteers, outside agencies, and companies, they offer veterans the opportunity to change and improve their lives. Joining us in studio is Rebecca Williamson, who is the Executive Director, Stefan, who is the Chief Financial Officer, and Charles Swanepoel, the Chief Executive Officer. Welcome to today's Veteran.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Tim. Thanks for having us.
Good to have you here. Let's get started. Rebecca, what is Veterans Resource Services and what does it do?
Well, as you've said, it is a nonprofit organization, and each of us as individuals and as an organization are dedicated to helping our veterans reintegrate into civilian lives. And not only veterans, but those especially dealing with disabilities. That's our main thrust right now. Okay.
Well, how do you get started with the program? How does a veteran do that?
Well, it's mainly just contacting us. We'll have the website up and have it available right now. We are in the beginning stages, so we've already started counseling with some individuals. Advising is really a better word that I like. And then as we build programs and launch those programs, we'll be able to push veterans into them as they want.
Okay. And I understand there is a mental health center. Can somebody address that?
What we really want to do, our effort is a three-pronged process. So first of all, we're going to assess the veteran for where they are. We know already that there are a lot of folks out there who need help and they just aren't getting the help that they need. Maybe they don't know how or whatever their circumstances. The first thing we're going to do is see if they need some help in those areas. What are they dealing with? Once we find that out, we do have an alliance with mental health centers and a therapist who can work directly with them to help them overcome some of those challenges before we start the process of finding careers and getting them into school or whatever else they need.
Can you tell us how academic and career counseling can help?
Sure, absolutely. Well, to me, it's one of the foundations of what we do because there's nothing worse in life than having a job that you hate or having no job. And so, especially those who are dealing with disabilities, often they don't know what to do, but yet they have talents and skills. And so, once we get past the mental health assessment, then we do personality and skills assessment to see where the individual is and what they want to do. And we call it their heart job. What is it that makes them excited about getting up in the morning and going to work and doing something outside of themselves and to help others? And so we're going to do assessments. We're going to sit down one-on-one with those individuals and talk to them about career possibilities. What is it that you want to do? And from that, we take them, and if they need education, then we do the academic counseling, move them into education, help them through the process to get into school, to get their training. If they don't, then that leads us into our own skills training program that we have. And so to even talk about that, I'm going to be quiet now for a moment. Before we do that, if you don't mind, I'd like to tell you about these two gentlemen who I'm sitting between because they're phenomenal. Charles Swanepoel, I've been working with him for almost 2 years now. Charles is from South Africa, and he's served in both the South African Army and the Navy. He was a rescue diver in the Navy. He did a lot of things, and we got to know each other because he has been tremendous at training active military at high levels in security, as well as our police and sheriff's departments. And so that's how I know him. He's phenomenal. This gentleman on my right, Stefan, I've known for longer, probably 5 or 6 years, and he's one of our veterans from the United States Army. He has been awarded 2 Purple Hearts, I believe. He just knew how to fly those choppers. Both men are very successful businessmen, and so I'm just honored to partner with them in this. And Mark, as our CFO, has to do all the spreadsheets, and I love that. But he talks more to the placement center and to the finances.
Okay. Charles, you're the CEO and the Director of Skills Training program. Tell us about that. Tell us how that works.
Well, specifically, my interest in this area stemmed from my last 2 years as a counterterrorism instructor in dealing with both active duty personnel in the military, some police, and also non-active. And it was during this time that I met many vets that clearly had challenges. I formerly had PTSD. I know what it is. I know it's real. And specifically in one of the courses we did or do was to train people on how to be bodyguards. And we had a Marine aspect to that. On the 15-day course, I found that the day that had the most sort of decompression aspect to it was what we call the Marine Day, where we spent some time on boats and did some casting from boats, did some diving. It was more an introduction. But again, you know, it reminded me of the time after I left the Army as a combat vet, transferred into the Navy, first as a rescue diver and later on as a combat diver, how much diving helped me. And anyway, when we started this program and we looked at some of the aspects in which we could help, I feel that one of the biggest aspects to vets, especially the ones that are going through mental health issues and the suicides that we have every day, if we could give them some meaning and purpose, one of the things we could do that through is introduce them to diving. If they liked it, we could train them to become dive masters. From dive master, they could become dive instructors. And I hope and believe that we can change some lives doing that. And that's really the beginning of what it is we want to do with the training. And I will personally be heading that up as the dive instructor. And that's it.
Okay. Mark, for the veterans that just want a job, how can the organization help with that?
Well, we're developing a concept which is somewhat unique, and it's going to take advantage of both of the situations that Rebecca and Charles are working. We are going to screen and develop veterans, both abled and disabled, into becoming recruiters. And those recruiters will be working in teams that will be overseen by an account executive or an individual who will manage them. They are going then to turn around and pursue opportunities and assignments for these veterans through various organizations around the country, and they're going to job source for them, and then we're going to be working into placing these individuals. We're going to be taking advantage of the counseling because this is going to give us some idea as to what type of vocational aspirations these individuals have, so we can find their heart job and place them in that situation. In fact, if we do end up coming with bringing out some of the folks out of our training program, we're going to be focusing on some of those areas and some of those disciplines that would take advantage of that. For instance, we talked about some of the marine safety, the marine aspect of security. There's a pretty large area that we can take advantage of there. We're also going to go into different areas around the country that might have needs for expertise in IT or in healthcare or what have you, and have our individuals, our recruiters, specialize in those areas so that they can source out those jobs. And then we're going to be looking at helping our vets place there. And certainly when the ones that do come out of the educational programs, we're going to be looking at their backgrounds and what they've been able to generate in the way of skills, and see if we can't find homes for them there. Those teams of individuals will be able to depend on their, I call them the rainmaker, the guy that's overseeing them, to be able to go out and interface with the public, because a lot of these folks that we're going to be looking at are folks that are homebound, that are disabled, and we might be able to take advantage of those skills that they have, that is, you know, their phone skills, their computer skills, but where they may not be able to actually interface in the public directly. Intent of that is to try and raise their personal self-respect and get them back into society so that they feel that they're going to be the breadwinners for their family, and, you know, give them that sense of pride.
Rebecca, just kind of give us maybe a scenario or something like that, how a veteran, maybe you contact a veteran, how they go through the program and get into the different parts of it.
Okay. Well, first of all, we do have a website. We're going to give our website and our phone number, and you can call us if you're a veteran. And let me just you are a veteran, so let me take you from that step. No matter what you're dealing with, maybe you just need some help in academic counseling, okay? You don't need anything else from us, it doesn't matter. you'll be able to contact us directly. And then again, we'll do the assessments. We can do them online. We can do them face-to-face. It doesn't matter. We're trying to be very mobile and very open right now. Let me say that we're trying to cut a swath across Central Florida, but we're not necessarily limited to Central Florida, okay? And so as we do that, again, we find out where you are from there, from your point A, and where you want point B to begin. And at that point, we start counseling with you, advising with you, and take you through the process, each step, until you don't need us anymore, okay? Until you're self-sufficient and you're going on it. Let me add, too, that we are undergirding all of this with mentoring. And we want mentors. I know that there are mentors out there who have become successful in their own right, who've overcome some of these problems that many of and challenges. And so we're looking for those. We want to pair you with someone who's going to become your best friend, who'll pick up the phone once a week and say, hey, Tim, how's it going? You know, what it is. And so that's one of the things that we really feel strongly about.
Okay. How can we help?
I think you're helping today by getting the word out. That's number one. We're nonprofit, obviously. We need money. We always need that. But again, we need mentors. We need people who will step up and who have skills that maybe they want to share with others. I met a young man day before yesterday. He's not a veteran, but he said, you know, I can teach someone how to have an online company. So if you're there at home and you can't get out, but you want to earn a living, he will work with you and teach you what you need to know. And he's doing that free of charge.
Okay. Well, listen, we're about out of time. So Rebecca, Mark, and Charles, I want to thank you for coming on, and thank you for your efforts to help veterans through your organization.
Well, thank you for
Tim,
having us.
thank you for having us.
And a special thank you to Mike Mason. He's just such a wonderful guy. He's been such a blessing. I have to say that note too. He's been wonderful.
Yeah, he probably made you say that.
No, but I might charge him.
Here's your dollar.
For more information on Veterans Resource Services, check their website at veteranresourceservice.org. That's going to do it for this edition of Today's Veteran. I want to thank our guests today, Colonel Washington Sanchez Jr., Veteran Steve Ratliff, Rebecca Williamson, Mark Stefan, and Charles Swanepoel. But most of all, I want to thank you for joining us. Remember, for help and information regarding claims, benefits, and services available to veterans and their families, call the Polk County Veterans Service Office at 863-534-5220 or log on to the Polk County website at polk-county.net. I'm your host, Tim Kirkhart, and we'll see you next month.